What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com and FightfulMMA.com. As if this week couldn't get any crazier, we have WrestleMania, NXT TakeOver New Orleans. We have a Ring of Honor, Super Card of Honor, tons of podcasts. But UFC 223 comes up Saturday night as well, and we have a post show for that. The main event is not what was advertised. It is not an April Fool's joke either. Tony Ferguson has injured his knee. He is out of the main event against Khabib Nurmagomedov. My God. I didn't believe it at first either when I heard it. Checked with people from about every camp that I could, including some that have nothing to do with this, and they've all heard the same. Tony Ferguson is out, hurt his knee. And Dana White has since confirmed the news. Ariel Helwani, Brett Okamoto have both went on the record on this one. Not an April Fool's joke. However, stepping in to replace him against Khabib Nurmagomedov is the 145-pound UFC champion, Max Holloway. My God. My God. Like how... And I already had somebody saying, I thought Conor said he was ready to step in. They will not put a Conor McGregor fight on in 6 days' notice with him not scheduled previously. This is if you had to cancel this fight, this is probably the best option because you have a champion in Max Holloway stepping in to do this. Oh, my God. But as Tony Ferguson said, he's the champ. Not anymore, he's not, because he won't be the first undisputed champion. He won't even be the second undisputed champion. I think he'll still have the interim championship. I don't know. They didn't tell us. Although they did say that it is for the undisputed UFC lightweight championship. But there's no undisputed in this situation. You have two other champions. And in fact, the person who's stepping up to fight for this championship holds a title right now that Conor McGregor had and never lost. A lot of people saying Ferguson, trashing Ferguson. Get out of here, man. That guy's not going to pull out unless he absolutely has to. It's just a mess. It is an absolute mess. They have tried to make this fight over and over and over again. I think this is the fourth time that it has fallen out. Rough, man. At this point, it's a pipe dream. I've said it every single week on the Holy Smokes MMA podcast. Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, Fightful.com. Whew. Fight never happens until it's in the cage. This is the reason. This is the reason why that Dana White would not commit to saying this fight was for the undisputed championship. Because he did not believe that Max Hall or that Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson, that fight would actually go down until they stepped in the cage. No, it is not an April Fool's joke. Goddamn, guys. Said that about 6 times. We do not pull April Fool's jokes at Fightful. We prefer for you to believe us. You know, it's the way we run our news outlet. My God. Well, from the Fightful side of things, I can tell you we're not going to be airing the rest of our pros picks for Khabib versus Tony. James, what do you got for me, buddy? James Lynch. Sheesh. Somebody says this is why Conor gets my respect. He never pulls out. Yeah, he doesn't pull out. Any proof? Yeah, Dana White on his own Twitter account has revealed the information. Probably happened while he was, quote, working out during the media call. Yeah, man, he has some unique methods to his training. And the thing about Tony Ferguson is he fights often, and he's not necessarily a young dude. Even though he just emerged as this big star, the guy's 34 years old. That's not young, especially in this game when you have, 30 fights like he does, including the ones on the Ultimate Fighter. Plus, you don't know how many of his fights the records weren't kept for because of early on. Now, while it is tragic, horrible, bummer news, Max Holloway stepping up and facing Khabib Nurmagomedov, that's a big one. Because to me, Khabib Nurmagomedov still has that question of what can he do against an accurate striker? We saw him do exceptionally well against Edson Barboza. However, we have also seen Max Holloway utilize some pretty ungodly takedown defense. However, the size is what I'm concerned with. Max Holloway has a 69-inch reach. Khabib has a 70-inch reach. Max Holloway is 5'11". Khabib is 5'10". We saw Khabib run into some trouble with Michael Johnson. Max Holloway is a much better striker than Michael Johnson. We have seen the majority of Max Holloway's opponents be strikers and jiu-jitsu players. However, as it pertains to wrestling, like the kind of wrestling that Khabib Nurmagomedov is going to put on you, ooh, boy. Damn. And we're still not out of the woods yet, guys. Khabib's got to make weight. He's got Tyler Minton on the case, and Tyler Minton is oh my gosh, I just realized that. Khabib also works with Tyler Minton. My God, they got the same weight cut guy. Ninja Pirate says Max doesn't lose anything if he loses. That is correct, because if he wins, that is a one-way ticket to Conor McGregor. Nobody else, except for Nate Diaz. That's the only option. Maybe Floyd Mayweather if he decides to jump off that building. Doubt that happens. Khabib is going to maul Holloway. He could if Holloway lands with the type of accuracy that he has in the past. Think about the accuracy that he landed against the Jose Aldo. Now, he didn't have Jose Aldo necessarily trying to bully his way into the clinch and drag him down for a takedown or working for waist lock, stuff like that. But he pieced up Jose Aldo on multiple occasions, a much better striker than Khabib. Khabib has run into some issues with that. Somebody says Khabib's wrestling is much better. Yeah, you could put him up against anybody. You could say Khabib's wrestling is much better. That's like standard analysis. Of course his wrestling's much better. Way better. But Holloway is much smaller. He's not that much smaller. They're both he's 5'11". Khabib is 5'10". As far as frame, sure. But Holloway should probably be fighting at 155 anyway. If you see him at 145, you can tell, oh man, that guy needs to bump up a little bit. As far as Max Holloway's ground game, last submission he has is against Cub Swanson. Had one against Andre Feely. Not a big submission artist. He relies on his striking. He's competent everywhere. My God. And I had somebody say that that maybe UFC announced this because they expected the speculation of it being April Fool's Day. Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of people talking. I mean, it was going to have people talking anyway. But hot dog, man. Max Holloway versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. That is your headliner for UFC 223. Of course, we're going to talk about this at length on the Tuesday Holy Smokes MMA podcast. It looks like I'll be coming at you solo for a UFC 223 post-show podcast right after the card. On that show, you have Rose Namajunas against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Michael Chiesa, Anthony Showtime Pettis, Ally Aquinta versus Paul Felder, Carolina Kowalkiewicz against Felice Herrig. If Herrig wins, she very well could get a title shot. Former title challenger Ray Borg against Brandon Moreno. You have Joe Lozon, Evan Dunham, Bruce Leroy, the GOAT, Artem Lobov on the show. Also, a fight that really had some spice added to it via the interview that James Lynch did with Ashley Evans Smith as she takes on Becca Rawlings. Whew. Jack DeRippa says, so Conor is champ. Ferguson should get his interim belt stripped. We don't know who's champ yet because very well what could happen. They could say that this is for the Undisputed Championship. They get there on Friday. Khabib misses weight, but he still beats Max Holloway. There's no champion because he can't win a title that way. Meanwhile, Tony Ferguson is still the interim champion. He's got a knee injury. What does a knee injury usually mean? Well, it usually means torn meniscus, usually means torn MCL, torn ACL. If he's got a torn ACL, he's not coming back this year. If he's got a torn MCL, he'll be lucky if he can get on the year-end card. If he's got a torn meniscus, maybe we're talking July to September. Because, I mean, a sprain isn't going to keep Tony Ferguson out. That's just not the way it works. Mark Rain says, agreed. I would rather see Tony versus Khabib, but still great fight. Yeah, it is a great fight. And it's almost the question of like, when will this fight ever be made? When can this fight ever be made? How will it ever be made? I mean, so many times we've seen them try to make this. It was supposed to happen in December 2015 at the Ultimate Fighter 22 finale, but Nurmagomedov pulled out in late October. He was replaced by Barboza. And, we know what happened in the fall or at UFC 209 for the lightweight championship. And then the weigh-ins got pulled as well. The Nurmagomedov fight was set for April 2016. But on April 5th, Ferguson pulled out of the fight because of a lung problem. So 2015, 16, 17, and 18, this fight has been canceled now. 4 straight years. They're going for the Undertaker streak at this point. My God. Jack DeRippa says this fight will never happen. Now this was their last chance. No, it wasn't their last chance. It'll happen eventually. It will be. Tested Mod says if it were true, they would have announced it tomorrow. No, they would have announced it today as soon as they could. That's what they try to do. They don't like to wait on that stuff. They have a pay-per-view to push on just days away. Guys, join us on Tuesday. Holy Smokes MMA Podcast. We have pros picks. We will preview this show at length. My God. Until next time, we're out.